A lot of students had a query or queries regarding the methodology to be adhered to for attempting paper 4. That's business strategy, and as most of us are already aware, this was the latest addition to the set of papers as far as our curriculum is concerned. So basically, P4 business strategy, it carries 40 marks consisting of two essay type questions, 20 marks each, and obviously no choice. So this is a case study based paper, and obviously the first requirement is that you thoroughly you should go through the passage first. I know we are all pressed for time. We have 1 or 15 minutes to attempt paper 4, but you must spend at least 5 to 10 minutes if required to go through the passage thoroughly, properly, try to get a firm grasp over the content, look at the data, try to comprehend what the situation is all about before you start attempting the questions. So you still have, even if you spend 10 minutes reading the passage, you still have approximately half an hour, 30 to 35 minutes per essay type question, and which is manageable. Okay, the first question, if you look at the wording, how they have phrased the question, the first word is evaluate. So they want us to evaluate the strategy basically adopted by that particular business by referring to the timeline that's given. That's, I think, a conspicuous characteristic of all P4s, that there's a timeline given. So you basically have to keep referring to the chain of events as described on a yearly basis. For instance, it says that in 2012, for instance, the business was launched, or in 2014, they decided to join hands with another firm because they wanted to grow externally, or maybe in 2020, they decide to go public, so on and so forth. So you have to keep referring to these events or these activities and evaluate the decision taken by the business, or evaluate the strategy that the management adopted in a given year. So this one, I think the first question should not be too difficult to attempt, because I mean, in a nutshell, if if I'm not oversimplifying it, you just have to discuss the pros and cons of the step taken by the management, in a given situation. For instance, if it says in 2020, XYZ company, they decided to go public, you just have to comment on it. So by going public, obviously they will have an access to a reliable source of finance, and of course, the business, in a way, it's being upgraded into a public limited company, and the prestige factor is there, so on and so forth. And similarly, since this is an evaluation-based question, you have to criticize the decision also, that now they'll be required to publicly declare all their financial statements. So, the element of secrecy or confidentiality will be compromised, so on and so forth. So this one, I don't think candidates, they should find it too challenging. But yes, time management is important. As usual, in the first paragraph, there are certain boxes to be ticked. You have to give the background first. You have to identify the problem or the issue, and of course, define the key term. And then, of course, moving from one paragraph to the other, try and evaluate the decisions taken by the business over a period of time. And of course, in a 20 marker, a minimum of 10 points must be discussed in detail, and there has to be a concluding paragraph, because it's an evaluation based question. You can always briefly recommend to the directors as to which strategy is more feasible, or if there's a piece of advice. Though the second question is the one in which you have to act in an advisory capacity, but no harm in sharing your recommendations in the end. That's the first one. So there are a few P4s available also ever since the format was changed, and I would strongly suggest that all of you should practice these P4s and see if you can come up with an appropriate answer in approximately half an hour. And I mean, 10 points, or in average writing font, approximately 3 to 4 A4 sides. That is the expected or the ideal length of the answer, right? So this was for the first question, right? Evaluating the strategy adopted by a business as it moves along that timeline. So as far as the second question is concerned, in the subsequent lecture, I'll try and throw some light as to how to attempt question number 2. All right.